No one in that quiet border town expected a ghost to walk through its dusty afternoon streets. And certainly not his ghost, the woman he once buried in his memory. The one the army had listed as missing, presumed dead. She moved like a shadow at first, until the Delta sniper team leader saw her face and whispered her name in disbelief. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. There were moments in life that split time in half, before and after. For Master Sergeant Cole Riker, that moment arrived on a wine-choked Tuesday outside Heron's supply store, where he and two of his Delta men were grabbing fuel, coffee, and a minute of silence. They were on a discreet rotation, fresh off a humanitarian extraction mission gone sideways. They wanted peace instead. They got a tremor in the air, a subtle shift Cole felt before he saw anything. A drifting hush rolled along the street, like even the dust dared to stop moving. And then she appeared, a woman walking with a slight limp, wearing an oversized field jacket marked with dirt and dried blood. Her left sleeve was torn, revealing a bandage wrapped hastily, darkened at the edges. Her hair, once kept in perfect regulation braids, was now wine-tangled and sun-bleached, but her eyes, cold, alert, scanning threats with trained precision. Cole's breath caught. Ava, he whispered. Sergeant Ava Hale, the woman he'd once relied on more than his own heartbeat, the woman whose dog tag he kept in his locker because finding it at the ambushed site meant she'd never come home. She thought she'd never see him again. She was wrong. Ava paused mid-stride. The wind tugged at her jacket. Sweat, dust, and something deeper, grief, maybe fear, clung to her like a second skin. Her eyes softened for a fraction of a second, barely enough to register. Then she looked away, as if seeing him caused her more pain than the wound in her side. Cole stepped forward, almost stumbling over the curb. Ava, stop. But she didn't. She kept walking, and that, more than anything, terrified him. Because Ava Hale didn't walk away from danger, she charged into it. Something was wrong. The townspeople sensed it too. Heads poked out of storefronts. A man walking. His dog froze mid-step. A teenager lowered his phone. Conversations thinned into whispers. Is she hurt? Who is she? Why does that soldier look so shaken? The afternoon felt colder. Even the sunlight seemed to hesitate. Cole caught up and grabbed her forearm gently, because he saw the wound she tried to hide. Ava, you're bleeding. Talk to me. Where have you been? She didn't answer. Her voice, when it finally came, was hoarse for someone who'd been alive and well these past 7 months. You need to let me go, Cole. His grip loosened, but didn't fall away. His heart hammered, hope and dread battling for dominance. Let you go where? Ava exhaled slowly, her eyes scanning rooftops, windows, alleys. Every corner seemed to hold a ghost of danger. They're here. That was all she said. And before Cole could ask who, a black SUV screeched around the corner. Unmarked plates, reinforced frame, tinted windows to dark for civilians. His Delta instincts fired instantly. Team cover. The SUV door flew open and out stepped two men dressed in contractor gear. Not military issue, the kind that worked for money, not country. Their movements were sharp, predatory, and they locked onto Ava like they'd been tracking her for days. One spoke into a shoulder mic. Target confirmed. Move. And the street exploded into chaos. Cole shoved Ava behind a parked truck just as bullets shredded the air. Civilians screamed and scattered. Windows shattered. A trash can toppled. A dog yelped and darted away. Ava crouched, teeth clenched, hand pressed to her side. I didn't want them to find me here, she muttered. I didn't want them to see you. Too late. Cole growled. You're not doing this alone. She didn't argue. That alone told him how bad things were. His Delta men, Briggs and Torres, moved like a synchronized wave, flanking the street, returning controlled bursts of fire to drive the attackers into cover without risking civilians. Ava peeked around the bumper, reading the enemy's formation with terrifying accuracy. They're not here to capture me, she whispered. They're here to erase me. Why? Cole demanded. She hesitated. Because I survived something I shouldn't have. A micro cliffhanger. A hint of darkness behind her eyes. Then she pushed forward, surprising him by standing despite Her pain, they won't stop, Cole, not until I'm gone. He steadied her. Then I'll stand in their way. A moment passed, a moment thick with unspoken history, broken trust, and a future that suddenly seemed possible again. But another hail of gunfire shattered that moment, forcing them back behind cover. Ava's wound wasn't just bad, it was worsening. Blood dripped down her wrist, sweat beaded across her brow. Yet her voice stayed calm. There's a storage yard 2 blocks east. High walls, only one entrance. If we get there, I can explain everything. Cole nodded. He trusted her even now, especially now. Briggs, Torres, moving east. The team shifted with coordinated precision. 3 soldiers guiding one ghost of a woman who refused to stay dead. They sprinted between parked cars and shattered storefronts. Every step a battle against Ava's weakening body and the accelerating threat behind them. Contractors pushed forward, more pouring out of the SUV, too many for a simple retrieval team. This was a kill squad, and Ava Hale was the reason. They made it to the storage yard just as another bullet grazed the metal gate. Cole yanked it shut, locking the bar from the inside. Tools rattled on shelves, a hanging chain swayed. Dust drifted from the rafters. Briggs checked ammo. Torres scanned through a crack in the wall. Cole turned to Ava, who leaned against a stack of crates, chest rising, and falling in sharp, painful breaths. Talk, he demanded softly. What happened to you? Ava's eyes closed, not to hide, but to steady herself. 7 months ago. She began. Our reconnaissance wasn't compromised by chance. Someone sold our team's route. The ambush wasn't random. It was orchestrated. Cole felt a cold blade of fury slide into his veins. Their team, her disappearance, the dog tag, Ava continued, voice trembling at the edges. I survived by playing dead. They dragged my body into a truck, but I escaped. In the mountains. Since then, I've been hunting the truth while they've been hunting me. Torres muttered, and they tracked you here. Ava nodded. I thought I had more time. Cole knelt in front of her, lifting her chin gently. You're not alone anymore. Her eyes glistened, not with weakness, but with exhaustion and relief she could no longer hide. But the reprieve was brief, because the gate behind them rattled violently. Then again. Then a deep voice barked from outside. Hand her over, and nobody else gets hurt. Cole exchanged a look with Briggs and Torres, a silent understanding forged in years of trust. A storm was coming, and they were ready. The gate burst inward as the kill squad forced their way through. 10 men surged into the yard, moving in tight formation. But Delta moved faster. Briggs struck first, disabling the point man. Torres swept left, driving two attackers into the shelving with tactical precision. Cole held the center, absorbing the charge like a mountain braced against a flood. Tools clattered, crates toppled, dust exploded into the air. Ava, bleeding and barely standing, refused to be useless. She braced herself behind a crate, grabbed a dropped sidearm, and fired with the accuracy of a woman who'd trained her whole adult life for battlefield truth. Every shot she took was a statement. I'm still here. I won't be erased. I choose to fight. The battle lasted minutes, but it carved itself into their memories like stone. When the dust settled, the contractors were down, disarmed, or surrendering. The gate hung crooked on its hinges. Sunlight streamed through the broken roof, illuminating the chaos like a spotlight on survival itself. Cole turned to Ava and saw her collapse. He caught her before she hit the ground. Her fingers curled into his shirt, weak but determined. I didn't think I'd ever make it back, she whispered. Not to you, not to anyone. He held her tighter. And I didn't think I'd ever see you again, he murmured. But you walked back into my life, Ava. That's enough for now. Her eyes fluttered. Promise me you won't let them bury the truth. I promise, he said, and he meant it with every fiber of his soul. A medevac arrived minutes later, alerted by Briggs and Torres. Paramedics swarmed the yard, helping Ava onto a stretcher as townspeople gathered at the entrance, whispering, watching, feeling the shift in the air. An unspoken understanding that something extraordinary had happened in their quiet corner of the world. As the helicopter lifted her away, Ava reached out a trembling hand. Cole clasped it, grounding her until the last possible second. He watched her ascend, Sunlight burning through the rotors, wind whipping around him like a vow. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning of the reckoning, because courage doesn't fade, it waits, buried in silence, until the world needs it again. And sometimes the ghosts who walk back into our lives are the ones who remind us who we were meant to be. If you felt something from this story, tell me your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more powerful tales like this one.